Now class 6, today the last part of the story, the 3 questions written by Tolstoy, the famous Russian writer. And again I am repeating, he won Nobel Prize for his famous novel War and Peace. Now today question answer. Ready all my students? Now write the question. Why did the king go to the hermit who lived in the woods? Why did he, within bracket the king, wear simple clothes? Write the answer. The king wanted to know the right answers for his 3 questions so that he will never fail in his life. Full stop. Next, the king declared that he would give a great reward to anyone who would teach him what was the right time for every action, and who were the most necessary people, and how he might know what was the most important thing to do. The king announced a handsome HANDSOME, handsome reward, REWARD reward for the person who would give a proper answer. All learned men came to the king, but they all answered his questions differently. All the answers were different. The king agreed with none of them and gave the reward to none. Now, let me repeat up till this. Then the second part of the question, that is, why did he wear simple clothes? Now, first part, why did the king go to the hermit who live in the woods? Let me repeat it. The answer starts, the king wanted to know the right answers for his 3 questions, comma, so that he will never fail in his life, full stop. The king declared that he would give a great reward to anyone who would teach him what was the right time for every action, comma, and who were the most necessary people, and how he might know what was the most important thing to do, full stop. The king announced ANNOUCED, a handsome HANDSOME, a handsome reward for the person who would give a proper answer, full stop. All learned men, LEARNED, all learned men came to the king, but they all answered his questions differently, full stop. All the answers were different, comma, the king agreed with none of them and gave the reward to none, full stop. Now second part, for that another paragraph. The hermit lived in a wood and he received none but common folk, FOLK. Again I am repeating this sentence. The hermit lived in a wood and he received none but common folk, full stop. So the king, wearing simple cloth, WEWEARING, dismounted, DISMOUNTED, dismounted from his horse, leaving, LEAVING, leaving his bodyguard behind. He went on alone. He went on alone. Now, next question. Why did the king help the hermit and the bearded man who was wounded? Now, why did the king help the hermit and the bearded, BEARDED, bearded man who was wounded? Write the answer. The king approached, APPROACHED. The king approached to the hermit, comma, the hermit was digging the ground in front of his hut. The hermit greeted him, GREETED, greeted him and went on digging, DIGGING, digging. The hermit was frail, 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 and weak, 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 and each time he stuck his spade into the ground and turned a little earth. He breathed heavily. Let me repeat it. The hermit was frail, F-R-A-I-L, frail and weak, W-E-A-K, weak. And each time he stuck his spade, S-T-U-C-K, stuck his spade into the ground and turned a little earth. He breathed, B-R-E-A-T-H-E-D, heavily. He breathed heavily, full stop. That means breathing problem. Next para. The king said to the hermit that he was very tired. The king said to the hermit that he means the hermit. The king said to the hermit that he was very tired. So the king wanted to take the spade, S-P-A-D-E, spade, to work for the hermit, Full stop. The hermit said thanks, and giving the spade to the king, he sat down on the ground. The hermit said thanks, and giving the spade to the king, he sat down on the ground. Now, then the next part means how did the king help the wounded birded man? Right. The king turned round and saw, all of you listen carefully, the king turned round and saw a birded man came running out of woods. The man held his hands, pressed, P-R-E-S-S-E-D, pressed against his stomach, and blood was flowing. After reaching the king, he fell fainting, F-A-I-N-T-I-N-G, fainting on the ground, moaning, M-O-A-N-I-N-G, moaning feebly, F-E-E-B-L-Y, full stop. The king and the hermit unfastened, U-N-F-A-S-T-E-N-E-D, unfastened. The king and the hermit unfastened the man's clothing, full stop. There was a large wound in his stomach. There was a large wound in his stomach, full stop. The king washed it, W-A-S-H-E-D, washed it, and bandaged it, B-A-N-D-E-G-E-D, bandaged it with his handkerchief, H-A-N-D-K-E-R-C-H-I-E-F, handkerchief, and with a hermit's towel, full stop. But blood would not stop flowing. And the king again and again removed the bandage, B-A-N-D-A-G-E, bandage, and washed and rebandaged the wound, R-E-B-A-N-D-A-G-E-D, rebandaged the wound, full stop. When at last the blood ceased, C-E-A-S-E-D, C-E-A-S-E-D, ceased flowing, the man revived, R-E-V-I-V-E-D, revived, that is got his life again, revived, and asked for something to drink. Full stop. The king brought fresh water and gave it to him. The king brought fresh water and gave it to him. Full stop. The king with the hermit's help carried the wounded man into the hut. The king with the hermit's help carried, C-A-R-R-I-E-D, carried the wounded, W-O-U-N-D-E-D, wounded man into the hut and laid him, L-A-I-D, laid him on the bed, lying on the bed, full stop. Then you write, lying on the bed, L-Y-I-N-G, lying on the bed, the man closed his eyes and was quiet, Q-U-I-E-T, quiet. Now, full stop. Then you write, the king felt asleep there and awoke in A-W-O-K-E, awoke in the morning. Now, full stop. Then so the king helped the bearded man because he was wounded and blood was coming out from his stomach. Now, this is the question, answer. Now, write another question. What was the answer of the hermit to the king? What was the answer of the hermit to the king? Right. The hermit said the king that he just got the answers of his question. The hermit said the king that he just got the answers of his question. Then you write, if the king had not pitied, P-I-T-T-E-D, pitied, that is show mercy, had not pitied the hermit's weakness yesterday. Again I am repeating, if the king had not pitied the hermit's weakness yesterday, comma, and had not dug these beds, D-U-G, dug, T-H-E-A-C, these, B-E-D-S, beds for the king, but had gone the king's way to home, but had gone the king's, apostrophe S, way to home, comma, then the man would have attacked the king and killed him. After comma you write, then the man would have attacked the king and killed him. Let me repeat. The hermit said the king that he just got the answers. If the king had not pitied the hermit's weakness yesterday, comma, and had not dug these beds for the king, but had gone the king's way to home, comma, then the man would have attacked the king and killed him. So the answers of the king's questions are, number 1, only one time is important. Now, full stop. Only now we have power. So I am repeating number 1. Only one time is important. Now, full stop. Only now we have power. Number 2. The most necessary person is the one with whom we are. The most necessary person is the one with whom we are. Number 3. That is the answer of the third question. The most important affair is to do that person's good. Number 3 is the most important affair, A-F-F-A-I-R, affair is to do that person's good. Now complete this chapter, complete. All of my students go through what I have done in class, and this is all for this chapter. That is the 3 questions. Complete. I completed this chapter. Now wish you all the best.